Imagine a place so vast and so deep that it holds more fresh water than all the Great Lakes of North America combined. We are talking about Lake Baikal, the sacred sea of Siberia, a geological titan that has survived for 25 million years. Why does this single body of water contain nearly 20% of our planet's liquid freshwater? Is it just a lake, or is it a living, breathing archive of Earth's most ancient secrets? Today, we journey into the heart of the Russian wilderness to uncover a landscape of impossible beauty and terrifying power. If you are ready to explore the deepest abyss on any continent, hit that subscribe button and join us as we dive into the mystery of the Pearl of Siberia. Lake Baikal is not merely a lake. It is a colossal inland sea carved into the heart of Siberia, a place where geology, climate, and time have created one of the most extraordinary natural environments on Earth. Stretching between Yakutsk Oblast and the Republic of Buryat, Baikal is the deepest, oldest, and largest freshwater lake by volume on the entire planet. It holds nearly a quarter of Earth's unfrozen surface freshwater, a volume so massive it defies human comprehension. Formed within an active continental rift, the lake is estimated to be between 25 and 30 million years old. This makes it an ancient world unlike any other, surviving while other lakes have long since vanished or filled with silt. Its immense depth, crystal clarity, and isolated ecosystem have allowed thousands of unique species to evolve here in total solitude. Many of these creatures are found nowhere else on Earth, making the lake a biological island in a sea of ice and stone. To understand Baikal, you must first understand the ground beneath it. The lake lies within the Baikal Rift Zone, a place where the Earth's crust is literally pulling itself apart. This is not a static landscape, but a violent and shifting frontier of tectonic power. The lake stretches 636 kilometers across southern Siberia and descends to an astonishing depth of 1,642 meters. This makes it the deepest lake ever recorded by human science. But the depth of the water is only the beginning of the story. Beneath the lake floor lies nearly 7 kilometers of ancient sediment, preserving one of the world's longest continuous climate archives. Scientists studying deep sediment cores have uncovered environmental records stretching back millions of years. These layers reveal ancient climate cycles and geological transformations that have been lost everywhere else on the globe. Unlike many northern lakes, Baikal escaped the total destruction of the various ice ages. Continental glaciers never scoured its basin, which allowed this prehistoric ecosystem to survive largely intact for tens of millions of years. While the rest of the world was being crushed under miles of ice, Baikal remained a sanctuary for life. It is a window into a past that should have been erased, a survivor of an era when the world looked very different than it does today. The waters of Lake Baikal are legendary for a purity that is almost supernatural. During the winter months, visibility can reach 40 meters beneath the ice, creating the illusion of floating above an endless blue abyss. You can look down and see the jagged rocks and swirling fish as if there were nothing but air between you and the bottom. Even at its greatest depths, the lake remains incredibly rich in oxygen, which is an extremely unusual feature for such a deep body of water. Seasonal transformations dominate every aspect of life in this region. In the winter, the lake freezes beneath thick, transparent ice sheets that stretch across the horizon like a mirror of the sky. Powerful cracks echo across the frozen surface like rolls of thunder as pressure shifts beneath the ice. During the summer, the shallow bays warm under the Siberian sun, while the deep waters remain near freezing throughout the entire year. The lake's immense volume acts as a thermal stabilizer for the entire region. In the deep abyss, the water remains close to 3 degrees Celsius regardless of the season outside. Hydrothermal vents, underwater convection currents, and violent storms further shape this dynamic environment. It is a world of constant motion, where the cold depths and the surface weather are in a perpetual, high-stakes dance. Lake Baikal is arguably one of the most biologically unique freshwater ecosystems on the planet. More than 2,500 known animal species inhabit this region, and scientists believe many more remain undiscovered in the darkness. Among its most famous inhabitants is the Baikal seal, also known as the Nerpa, the world's only exclusively freshwater seal species. How these seals originally reached this isolated lake, thousands of miles from the nearest ocean, remains one of the most enduring mysteries of science. The lake is also home to a strange, translucent fish called the golomyanka. This deepwater species is adapted to survive the crushing pressures of the abyss, and its body is nearly 40% oil. Endemic whitefish, such as the omul, have sustained local communities for centuries and remain culturally significant throughout Siberia. These species are the lifeblood of the lake, representing a chain of existence that has never been broken. Below the surface, the lake hosts a hidden world of bizarre crustaceans and giant amphipods. There are colorful flatworms and massive freshwater sponges that look more like coral reefs than anything you would expect to find in Siberia. This is a living laboratory where evolution has taken a different path. It is a place where nature has experimented with forms of life that seem like they belong on another planet entirely. For thousands of years, the lands surrounding Baikal have been inhabited by indigenous Siberian cultures, particularly the Buryat people. Along the eastern shores, nomadic communities raised livestock, while their spiritual traditions centered around the lake's sacred nature. The Buryats called the lake Baikal Dalai, which translates to nature's sea. To them, the water is not just a resource, but a sentient and powerful deity that demands respect. Shamanic rituals continue to be practiced on the islands and cliffs surrounding the lake to this day. Olkhon Island is considered one of the 5 spiritual poles of the Northern Hemisphere and a center of Siberian shamanism. People travel from all over the world to leave offerings at the sacred Shamanic rock. They seek a connection to the ancient spirits that are said to dwell within the water and the wind. Russian expansion into this remote territory began during the 17th century. Explorers, traders, and Cossacks pushed eastward across the vast Siberian wilderness, seeking furs and new lands. By the late 1800s, the construction of the Trans-Siberian Railway transformed Baikal into a strategic transportation corridor. This iron road linked European Russia to the Pacific, forever changing the isolation of the Great Lake. Winter at Lake Baikal creates one of the most surreal and dangerous landscapes on the planet. The frozen lake becomes a vast, transparent highway of blue ice that stretches far beyond the visible horizon. Ice roads temporarily connect remote settlements and islands, allowing vehicles to traverse the deep water. However, the surface is constantly changing, with methane bubbles and towering pressure ridges transforming the ice into a natural sculpture gallery. Yet this beauty has often been accompanied by profound human tragedy. During the Russian Civil War in the year 1920, Retreating White Russian armies attempted to cross the frozen surface in a desperate escape. In the middle of the crossing, a brutal Siberian blizzard struck, and temperatures plummeted. Thousands of soldiers and their families froze to death on the ice, exposed to the mercy of the wind. Even today, the lake remains a place where one mistake can be fatal. Every year, thinning spring ice traps vehicles and travelers who underestimate the unpredictable nature of the frozen surface. The lake does not forgive those who do not respect its power. It is a reminder that even in our modern age, nature still holds the ultimate authority over human life. Lake Baikal has become one of the world's most important sites for advanced scientific research. International teams come here to study its unique geology, biology, and the history of our global climate. In the year 2008, Russian submersibles descended more than 1,500 meters into the depths. They explored environments that few humans had ever seen, discovering new life forms and underwater volcanoes. Scientists have also deployed massive underwater neutrino detectors beneath the surface of the water. By using the crystal-clear deep water as a shield, they can detect subatomic particles from the furthest reaches of the universe. This has transformed the ancient lake into a high-tech laboratory for particle physics. It is a strange contrast, where prehistoric life exists alongside the most advanced technology humanity has to offer. The sediment layers at the bottom of the lake continue to provide invaluable records of the past. By drilling into the mud, researchers can read the history of the Earth like the pages of a book. They can see when the world warmed and when it cooled over millions of years. This isolated ecosystem offers us a map of where we have been and perhaps where we are going. Often referred to as the Pearl of Siberia, Lake Baikal has grown into one of Russia's most iconic travel destinations. Villages such as Listvianka and Kuzhia attract visitors from all over the world seeking adventure and spiritual renewal. People come for ice trekking, hiking through the taiga, and watching the unique wildlife. It is a place that offers a sense of scale and solitude that is increasingly hard to find in our crowded world. Winter tourism centers around the spectacular frozen landscapes and the opportunity to drive across the blue ice. In the summer, the region opens up for mountain trekking and boat trips to remote, untouched bays. You can visit traditional Buryat settlements and experience a way of life that has remained unchanged for generations. It is a destination that appeals to the soul as much as it does to the eyes. Despite the growing international attention, much of the Baikal region remains isolated and underdeveloped. This lack of infrastructure has helped preserve the raw wilderness that defines the lake's character. However, as more people arrive, the balance between economic growth and environmental preservation becomes increasingly fragile. How do we share such a wonder with the world without destroying the very thing that makes it special? Despite its status as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, Lake Baikal faces increasing environmental pressure from the modern world. For decades, the Baikalsk pulp and paper mill discharged industrial waste directly into the pristine water. This triggered massive protests from scientists and activists who feared for the lake's future. Although the mill finally closed in the year 2013, the toxic residues remain a continuing hazard to the ecosystem. Additional threats have emerged from proposed oil pipelines and uranium processing projects in the surrounding region. Invasive algae blooms, driven by sewage pollution and rising temperatures, are now appearing in the shallow bays. There are also ongoing debates about large-scale projects to export Baikal's water to thirsty nations. Each of these threats adds another layer of stress to a system that has been stable for millions of years. Scientists warn that climate change is already altering the lake's delicate ice cycles and water temperatures. Rising temperatures threaten the endemic species that evolved to live in a world of constant cold. If the ice melts too early or the water warms too much, the entire food chain could collapse. We are witnessing a battle for the survival of one of the Earth's last great wildernesses. Lake Baikal is far more than just a geographical wonder on a map. It is a living archive of our planet's geological history and a sanctuary for life found nowhere else. Its frozen winters and ancient depths create a landscape that feels as if it exists outside of human time. Yet, despite its immense scale and age, we have learned that Baikal is surprisingly vulnerable to our actions. The future of this ancient lake now depends on the balance we strike between development and conservation. It requires a global commitment to science and a deep respect for the natural world. If we cannot protect a place as unique and massive as Baikal, what does that say about our ability to protect the rest of the planet? It is a question that we must all face as we look toward the future. As we stand on the shores of this sacred sea, we are reminded of our own smallness in the face of deep time. The lake has seen the rise and fall of species, the shifting of continents, and the birth of human civilizations. It will likely remain long after we are gone, provided we do not poison it in our brief moment of dominance. It is a silent witness to the majesty of the earth. What can we learn from a lake that has survived for 25 million years? Perhaps the lesson is one of resilience and the importance of hidden depths. Just as Baikal preserves its purity through its vastness and its unique inhabitants, we must find ways to preserve what is sacred in our own lives. We must learn to look beneath the surface and appreciate the complex systems that sustain us all. Are we doing enough to protect the wonders of our natural world for the generations that will follow us? Or are we too focused on short-term gains to see the long-term value of a pristine environment? These are the questions that Baikal asks of everyone who visits its shores. We must find the answers before the clarity of the water is lost forever. Thank you for joining us on our exploration of the icy lands of Siberia. If this Lake Baikal expedition inspired you, please share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more videos exploring the world's most amazing places. See you next time.